Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How's everyone doing?
It's been good. Just I got back from my my annual silent retreat at Manresa, and it was an incredible experience. And I have a lot of peace in my heart and my soul.
It feels. I know it hasn't been that long since we sat down and recorded, but it feels so much longer because of all the other stuff going on as well, and you know, with work and everything and all that. But it's great to hear that you had some time to. I still can't believe that it's been over a year. Since the previous one.
I know.
I thought you were going to say that you went like a second time.
No,
this year.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, we're looking at 18 months you've been with the show now. Roughly 18 months, right?
Really?
Yeah. October, or really the beginning of November. October 31st was the first show.
October of 20, was it 22?
22, I think.
Yeah. God, it's amazing.
I know. And that's what I was saying. Whenever you said that you went on your silent retreat, I was like, oh, did you go again? And you're like, no, like this is the, it's like this is the annual time. And I was like, I can't believe it.
Yeah. Next year it's July 31st through August 2nd. So I said it's usually always that last weekend in July or first weekend in August. I had a bunch of friends of mine. They actually scheduled a kayak trip that I missed. But it fell on when I would be, I couldn't do it. So, because I'm not going to miss that. But,
well, you look like you had a good time. You look positive. You look rested.
It's great. I mean, it's great food. And the only thing is it's just hot.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. It's been hot for the past.
It's hot.
2 or 3 months now.
I think I just saw the news. It's triple digit heat is going to be returning, and it's
tomorrow. Well, I guess we record on Monday, so Tuesday, the week before y'all hear this show, it's supposed to be 100 and 101 Wednesday.
Oh,
I've gotten excessive heat warnings on my phone basically for the past 2 months.
Yeah, it's every day now. It's
crazy.
I don't know if that's. I don't know what's driving this heat. I mean, right now Florida's got a hurricane over there that kind of spun up pretty quick on them. I mean, it was a level 1, category 1 hurricane, but definitely prayers out for anybody affected by that storm and any listeners out there. We we'll pray for that you get out of it as best as you can.
Yep.
And hopefully the property damage is minimized.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of water because I think it's going to be a slow moving. So there'll be a lot of flooding. I have a feeling up in Florida and Georgia and Carolinas.
We know that feeling all too well around here.
Yes, we do.
Yes, absolutely. Just another thing. I believe it or not, I was scrolling on my phone and just something from my my old hometown, and today is the anniversary of the Battle of Baton Rouge.
Really?
August 5th, 1862.
Wow.
Confederate forces advanced upon Federal forces that had landed in Baton Rouge, and they marched from Tangipahoa Parish, Camp Moore, and engaged the Union troops on the outskirts of Baton Rouge, which would be where 22nd Street is. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Baton Rouge in that area, but it's near where Sacred Heart and Magnolia Cemetery are, which would have been the outskirts of Baton Rouge in 1862.
It's crazy how much history, obviously I know, having been a part of the state, I know there's a lot of history, with the Louisiana Purchase and everything else that goes on around here and all the history that's over in New Orleans, it's crazy. But to hear you talk about some of that as well, it's like, man, that's. I believe I've been to like that area you're talking about, where it's like to think that so much history has been
they have a beautiful national cemetery which is on the other side of Florida Boulevard, which kind of cuts through there. Where all the Federal troops that died in that battle are buried there. They never knew where the Confederate soldiers were buried at that time because the battle was pretty much a draw. Confederate forces had to leave the area because the Confederate ironclad, the Arkansas, that was supposed to come downriver, ran into mechanical problems, and they had to scrap it and burn it. Believe it or not, there is a marker now where that ship is. It's now buried underneath where the levees are now. But that ship never could engage the Union gunboats that started shelling the advancing Confederates, and they had to withdraw. So the plan broke down. But it's interesting that, and I just recently found this out for any Civil War history people, when they were working in the area of Government Street and 22nd Street, they found obviously remains of soldiers buried.
Wow.
So that's probably where the Confederate dead were buried, probably in a mass grave. So they were discovered while they were doing road work.
Oh my gosh.
Many years ago.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
That actually happens a lot all over the world. Just digging, doing this, and then finding this massive
remains.
Something. People, of course, cities, whatever.
I mean, nobody knows at that time when they were. They just found a place and probably dug a big hole and threw all the bodies in there. I mean, that's just how it was done.
I'm just talking about imagine just you're working your your bucket truck and you're scooping stuff and it's like
yeah, you start pulling up skeletons. I mean
then my mind would start to wander like I don't want to get in trouble with nothing.
But I think they moved some of those remains they found into Magnolia Cemetery. So I think that's about the last remaining area that is still from that time. If you still go there, you will see musket balls struck off some of the early tombstones.
Wow,
that were still there because that cemetery was commissioned, I believe, in 1852.
Dang.
But interesting. I just saw that. I was like, August 5th.
Yeah,
1862 was the Battle of Baton Rouge. So I just thought that might be interesting for any history buffs out there.
I love that.
Wow.
Well.
So we had a rough week last week. Had to bury somebody pretty important to me, and her funeral was Monday. And that's we appreciate our listeners bearing with us as much as we like putting out great content every week.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We had to repost something, and we just really appreciate you bearing with us because that was a tough couple of days.
It was.
Before you continue, though, I did make a brief joke because around this time of year, you've been known to have some accidents, and we've had to repost in the past.
Yes.
And I was like, I said it right off the top. Bless you. I had to say it right off the top. I was like, we're reposting an episode, and before anybody freaks out. Stoney's fine because I was like, I don't want anybody to think that. But you're right, though. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I knew her quite well. I had worked with her for a number of years, and it was a tragedy. Everybody loved her. She was a very critical. I would venture to say she is the most critical component of that office. And it's going to be very difficult to replace her, if not impossible.
Yeah.
So just every our listeners, please keep her family and her, in your prayers and your thoughts as they transition and without her. So.
Yep.
So didn't you get an email or something like that? We were talking the other night. You said I got this email. We didn't really have a time to go into it. I'm curious. You said it was pretty good.
Well, I'm the one who kind of monitors the.
You told me specifically not to pull it up, and I was like, all right.
If you have suggestions, comments, thoughts, and I'm not really sure, but I really like this email. But I thought I would go ahead and read it on the air. Is that what we say, Ian? Is this on the air?
You can't read
it. I'm curious.
What's the term?
I would say on the record.
For the record. Yeah. There we go. Okay, I like that. Hello! Exclamation mark.
Okay.
My name is Alex C. I wanted to start off by saying I absolutely love the podcast! Exclamation marks. Stoney is my favorite.
Uh-oh.
That's all we need to hear.
That's it. Have y'all ever considered starting videoing the podcast? Would love to put a face to the voice and personalities. Sincerely, your biggest fan.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why I love that email much.
I have a sneaking suspicion why, but we've actually, funny enough, we've had discussions recently about that very same
and some
topic.
plans. We got some plans coming. We got some starter cameras, and there's one more piece of equipment that we need to grab.
It's coming. It's coming.
So that we don't
it's
kill
not going to be here much longer.
That way we don't kill the audio visual team. we don't want to kill them.
Right.
And that's supposed to make the work a little less effort, for the production staff.
Right, the post-production side of it. It's gonna add some more, it's gonna add more toys and more buttons while we're actually recording, which I don't think is gonna be too big of a distraction or anything like that. But it will definitely help a lot, in post, because again, I'm kind of a one-man editing team, and so the more I can make it easier in the back end would be nice.
Absolutely. Well, we want definitely. I mean, I definitely want us to potentially. I'd love to see us get our own YouTube channel and be visual.
We do have a YouTube channel.
That way, everybody can see us.
Yeah.
Whether they want to see us or not, that's yet to be determined.
Currently, we have all of our episodes uploading to YouTube. If you go to the search bar and type @RetrospectPod, or you can on the url.com/@RetrospectPod for YouTube. You can find our channel there, and you can subscribe, and of course, like all the videos there. But it's just our logo on the screen, and of course, I think if you have YouTube Music, you can listen to it like any other podcasting platform. But yes, we are considering that, and
it's coming.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, it's coming. It's going to be. I've been thinking about how that's going to change how I do the show and my approach to the show, and
I hope it doesn't change. I still want us to be authentic and genuine.
Yeah, I mean,
but right now, for the first time ever, we all have facial hair.
You're right. Yeah,
mine's fixing to be. I'm fixing to take mine off.
Yeah.
Well, Miranda threatened to kill me, so mine may be leaving also.
I mean, yours looks nice. I mean,
yours look all nice.
Very well cut and groomed.
Yeah, you're all trimmed up nicely.
Miranda says I look like a sea captain.
I can see that. Yeah.
Put a sea captain hat on you.
That would be kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we had another topic for this show, and just with everything going on, we just figured we would put that on and talk about the retreat that Jason had and this wonderful email. Well, we sure like it when people email us and let us know what they're feeling.
Definitely. Look, I'm all excited about where we're going in the future.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of great things coming, and I feel very positive about where we're going right now. I mean,
video just adds an extra dimension, I think.
Yeah.
And like our listener said, to put a face with the personalities, I think is kind of neat.
Right. Yeah.
I've wanted to. And when we first started this, I don't know if we kind of jokingly talked about it, but we really, but about a year, right before the accident, I was getting kind of serious about it. I thought this would be the next step for the show. And then, of course, Ian does his little magic stuff and the YouTube channels. And, obviously we're still on Apple and Spotify and every other. I think the only one we're on iHeart. We haven't done really the Pandora thing yet, but the YouTube thing is big, and it's taken off. Right. People are actually checking that out on the YouTube channel. And
our most recent episode with Brandon talking about the attack on the mind, I believe, is I think so far our most watched one on YouTube. So I'm not sure what community you guys are out there that have really struck a chord with that, but that's really cool to see that episode is had a lot of traction.
I think a lot. I think that builds upon. I think I think it touches on a lot of fears that people are starting to kind of wise up a little bit of what's going on.
With the deep state.
There's too much. You know, as I've said, I think this election, the whole everything coming up with that, and just the you know what people perceive as the government trying to take Trump out, and just whether that's true or not, it's still fueling this idea that we're not all being told the truth. Right. And I think that really resonates with people because I think a lot of people are thinking that way. And I hate to say it, but the COVID stuff is really what brought a lot of this on. And, you know, I think personally, I think this might touch me a lot closer than what I would like.
Well, we've thought for years. Think about back in the 50s and the 60s with the CIA using LSD and sleep deprivation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and what have we talked about numerous times on this show, the advances of technology. And Brandon comes on talking about wetware and nanotech and cell phone and all this other stuff. And, you know, this is something, you know, and I don't think the question of whether our government tried to take President Donald Trump out is a conspiracy theory. I think with all the latest evidence, it's a definite.
Well, I saw something where the Secret Service, I know right now they're getting grilled in front of congressional hearings right now, which they should, considering that they basically almost possibly even cause a civil war in this country with an outright assassination of a former president who's the leading candidate for, you know, the leading Republican challenger, and right now is leading in the polls. So I don't even want to think of what would have happened if the unthinkable would have occurred and what that would have meant for our country. Right. I really don't, because I think whatever, you know, fears and suspicions that people have would have pushed us over the edge, at least with a certain segment of the population. There's no doubt in my mind that something would have happened.
It's also so crazy that, like, it felt like the news cycle that was just something new every day for.
It was crazy. It's crazy.
Like, it was so I don't even know how to wrap my head around some of the things that were going on. And I saw like a meme as it was all going on that everyone kept saying, like, we're in this is unprecedented. This is unprecedented. This is which, I mean, that's very true. But like, the meme had said, like, I just want to live in precedented times. I just want to live in just normal times. Can we slow down with all this craziness? And I was like, I have a feeling it's going to get more crazy before. I
think my favorite meme that came out during that time was the 4 or 5 female Secret Service agents that somebody photoshopped together, and the one with the gun thing was going on, and they named them Meal Team 6. Yes.
Meal Team 6
instead of SEAL Team 6. They named them Meal Team 6 because they looked like they hadn't skipped any meals. And
look, I mean,
well, you know what, they got pictures and video of Secret Service agents standing with the shooter with his rangefinder.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. So you had him walking with the ladder and the rifle. Now you got him talking to him with the rangefinder. Now I mean, hey, tell me it's a setup without telling me it's a setup.
Well, there's a lot of people you can't help but, considering how egregious the lapse in security was with this, that you can't help but force people to kind of go, they can't be that incompetent. They've been doing this like a long time.
Oh, yeah.
This is standard operating protocol.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you allowed basically a kid with an AR-15 with a rangefinder. You know he was up there for a good 20 to 30 minutes. People are screaming, saying, "Hey, this dude is going on." I mean, you're basically just, it's like putting chum in the water for sharks. I mean, it just is. And people say, well, people need to quit, talking about all this conspiracy and what do you expect people to think?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect people to think?
It feels unbelievable.
Exactly.
It's
like you can't be that incompetent. And if you are, how did the Secret Service fall so low?
Right.
What happened to them?
This was the elite of the elite at one time.
This has and it doesn't help that obviously the leader of the Secret Service is like, I'm not stepping down for like a large portion. Everyone's like, this is gross misconduct, and everyone's like, well, you should really step down.
I think you need to step down to at least restore some confidence in this organization.
All of a sudden now you're finding out the Leos didn't have any radio communication with the Secret Service, and everybody was using text and cell phones. Okay, so I'm a level 1 sniper on a roof of the sniper team, and I'm having to text somebody for my approval to take a shot. First off, when you're a level 1 sniper, your presence on the roof is your authorization to take the shot.
I feel like there's so many things that got overlooked. The whole fact that like that roof wasn't secured at all. Like there's just so many things. That's
the
like
only roof that had visual access to the podium,
right? Which I think is kind of ridiculous. And of course, the kind of BS excuse that she gave to, I was like,
that it was sloped.
Whenever the actual Secret Service sniper was on a roof that was even more sloped than the other one, it's like it's things like that. That's like it makes it hard not to think, what is the real story here?
Exactly.
Which that's the breeding ground for conspiracy theory.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't believe the quote unquote truth that is given. And then, of course, this is where our minds are, get to wander. And then, of course, we live in a day and age now where everyone had, high res cameras around looking at what's happening around. So now we have different angles of the same. You have thousands of people around.
That's what I'm saying. It's
crazy.
It's crazy. So then, all of this stuff is.
I will say this, and
here we go.
On the record, we talked about this, that we have all, I think, been in agreement, and I have talked to many friends in my circle that I don't think anybody's really been a big fan of Kamala Harris.
She's the most unpopular vice president ever, and like, she raised $90 million overnight.
And that's the thing that's kind of that's making my head hurt a little bit, is that I thought for sure that I was like, there's no way that if Joe Biden gets stepped down, that she's going to take his place, because I don't think it's going to be viable. And like, I'm starting to hear people now like kind of talk highly about her, and I think it's all people that are getting incentivized to do so. But I'm like, man, are we just so forgetful of how we felt towards this person, even just a couple of weeks ago?
I don't think so. I hear what you're saying, I don't think so, but I think they know that pretty much because of the assassination attempt, that Donald Trump is almost a shoo-in.
Okay.
So they're going to put their worst person possible in place to lose, because they don't want to put their best person to lose and make them look bad. So put Ding Dong up there and let her lose. It's going to be miserable, and then in 4 years, try again.
Isn't
the Democratic National Convention
coming up?
It's
coming up. It's this month, and so it'll be very interesting. I mean, I think we all heard that. The rumor was that she wasn't going to last. That Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom or whoever else they were going to put as. I think basically they're gonna run. I still believe they're gonna run with Kamala Harris. Now, who she picks as a VP, we don't know yet. I haven't seen anything yet where she's selected. I know there's some names out there. Shapiro from Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is a key state. That they cannot win if they lose Pennsylvania. I mean,
really?
It's that.
But it's borderline right now.
It's borderline right now. There's
that's almost even.
A lot of shenanigans going on in Philadelphia, which has always been the case. It's amazing that it seems like these urban centers seem to have problems, getting the votes tallied right and this and that and everything else. But, I don't necessarily want to, I mean, this that's what I'm saying. This whole thing is unfortunately been undermined because we've lost faith in institutions. We just have.
Right.
Yeah.
And that started really with COVID.
Right.
It just did.
Absolutely.
It started with COVID.
It started a long time ago, but COVID was the massive one.
And then there, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but the talk Kamala Harris gave after she got the endorsement from Biden and all that stuff, and whenever she's like standing up at the podium and there's like, and Joe Biden wasn't able to be there, but there's like a recording of, or there, quote unquote, he's on the phone, but she like slips up and almost says like, oh, I think the phone's cutting out or whatever. And it's like that kind of stuff too, where it's like, I think I don't mean this in a bad way or mean, but in those voice snippets, that's the most coherent I've heard Joe Biden speak in a little bit.
Because they put it together and edited it.
Here's where my conspiracy theory comes in: AI voice. You can very easily AI voice people that have talked a whole bunch, and I've already heard very convincing AI voice clones of Joe Biden talk about some dumb stuff on the internet. So who's to say that this isn't just like a press conference?
Well, with everything going on, all this does is they're adding more charges to Trump. Did you know that the FBI is wrapping up their investigation for the attempted shooting, and they're going to arrest Trump for interfering with a government-orchestrated assassination attempt, leaving the scene of a shooting with only minor injuries, unauthorized use of a miracle, and conspiring with God to survive.
Conspiring with God.
Yeah, that's
he can't win for losing, right?
That's the clown world we live in now.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Nope, at all. I mean, look, what you're seeing right now is a complete rewrite of Kamala Harris. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that people were saying she's, like you mentioned, the worst VP. She's terrible. She didn't get a single vote in the Democratic primary in 2020.
And now she's the latest and greatest.
And now she's raising all this money, which tells me there is a cabal of people that are so desperate to hang on to power, they're willing to back her,
right,
and to put up the money to do what she's got to do.
I also don't. I do agree with that, but I also, in my own personal life, with advertisements that have been forced down my throat, there has been a lot of advertisements on YouTube from Kamala Harris saying you have to donate now. This is now, and I mean it's aggressive, and there's multiple different ones. She's got different outfits, different locations, and I've heard a lot. It's like, now's our chance. I don't need you to do it later. I need you to donate your money now. And it's like the what is it called? Endorsed by the Harris Victory Fund or whatever. And I was like, so I wouldn't be surprised if also there's some of that too, where she's also saying like, I'm the only other option. Give me your money now. Where it's like, and I wouldn't be surprised if people that swing towards anything that's not Trump is willing to probably donate their money to them.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element out there that just absolutely just cannot stand Donald Trump for whatever reason. I know several people like that. People that you would think have some common sense and go, do you understand what you're about to do?
Yeah.
And, as I said, I'm not, I don't want to force people to do what that. I mean, ultimately,
you got to follow your heart.
You got to follow your heart, and if somehow you think what's been going on for the last 4 years is better than what it was under Trump, then God bless you and vote the way you want to vote. I look at economic policy. What do I think is better for the country?
Right.
And how anybody could say what's going on right now with a wide open border and the disaster in the Middle East and wars that are happening right now, where you had 4 years under Trump, there was not a single war that happened.
And then you get somebody like Kamala Harris comes on, looking at the opening ceremony of the Olympics, where they completely mocked the Last Supper, saying, look, America, this is what America needs to look like. Right there every Christian, every person of faith, of any faith, should not vote for her because just for her willingness to mock a faith,
well,
mocking somebody's faith.
They say that was I've seen some of the explanations that was a Greek.
No, that was not.
Festival.
What they're doing is called damage control.
Right.
And they're trying to
Exactly.
save
And
themselves. But you know what, Ian, as much as people are coming and saying stuff for Kamala Harris, there's a number of people that are saying some stuff about Trump.
Oh, yeah.
After the speed and just the decisiveness of his actions, even Chuck Norris has come up and said that he has conceded the title of the baddest man on the earth, that Trump can have it now.
Dang.
Because just that fast he dodges a bullet. Chuck Norris, I can't even.
It's gonna be
the crazy thing for me, and it's like I've said before, I've never been like a super big fan of Donald Trump. And by saying that, out of all the candidates, I've supported him, but it's also I've never been like a really big fanboy. But I will say that after all that craziness that happened, and then the Republican National Convention happening, like the next day, I think, or next couple days after that shooting,
next day, he went and played golf.
Well, I think that came out to be that was all fake news. That was all.
Okay.
I think those photos were from months ago, and they were trying to make it seem like he was, careless. Which again, that's another big thing of like, I can't believe what's real and what's not real. But I'm talking about the fact that he was there with the bandage on his ear in the Republican National Convention, and of course, like to see his countenance change, and to see his facial expressions, and for him to, from what I've seen of him, almost soften up just a little bit, and just like have that humanity.
He is who he is, and I mean, look, he's not going to fundamentally change who he is. I mean, part of the reason he is what he is because he's been attacked as much, and I give the guy credit because I know I couldn't have stand that, literally being sued and basically said, all the things they've said about the guy has just been kind of like, come on. I mean, gee, but that's what we've devolved into. I hate to say that's what our politics has devolved into. We don't look at issues. We try to attack individuals. And look, sometimes Republicans do it too. I don't want to sit there and make like the Republicans are the paragon of virtue when it comes to this stuff. We've done our fair share of demonizing people. Republicans have done that. But, that's what I'm saying. We got to stop this. We've got to get back to getting this country working again the way it was meant to work, and actually put some common sense proposals forward to get the economy going again. Inflation is killing people right now.
Right.
That's real world stuff that every family's got to deal with.
Right.
I mean, we've all seen the charts of what food prices were under Trump versus what they are now. Insurance, gasoline, you name it. We're all dealing with it. And to me, how anybody can sit there and get so wrapped up because I don't like Trump as an individual, it's not like you're going to have dinner with this guy.
Right.
He ain't coming over to your house.
Yeah.
You're probably not even going to your life will go on. Why don't you have somebody in there that's actually going to make your life a little bit easier?
Yeah.
It blows my mind. But, I mean, that's here and there. I don't want to get too much into a political thing. I mean, we are where we're at right now because I do believe people have lost trust, and I don't know how we get it back. I really don't, because, man, that ship has sailed. I mean, the sad part about it is a lot of what Trump has said was basically the standard language that Democrats said 25 years ago. That's what just blows my mind. It's like, that's what Bill Clinton believed in borders.
Yeah.
Right.
He believed in a border. You can't just leave your border wide open and let people just wander in your country, not knowing where they're from, what sort of diseases they might be bringing into the country. I mean, it just blows my mind that we somehow, where did we get off the track? I mean, where did we get off the track? I mean, I just think some of this stuff is just common sense. And And people are allowing, and unfortunately, the media has made Trump a villain. They've made the guy a villain, and he was never a villain before.
No, you see all the pictures with the African American community, with all the Democrats. There is a interview with Hillary Clinton standing next to him saying, "We need to elect this man president. We need people like him."
It's just I don't know. I mean, I worry.
It's a crazy world.
I worry about this coming election, and I'm hoping that.
Do you guys believe in or have you heard the conspiracy theory that the reason, quote unquote, the reason why Joe Biden dropped out was because he actually died?
Yes, that's another one.
Yeah,
hey, did y'all see that the libraries are now moving the section of conspiracy theories to the current affairs section?
Get out.
Yeah.
Stop.
Well, as I said, look, I give people. I think you have to have people that are willing to challenge the existing narrative. I really do. I think it's critical that you have that, and we may call them nuts. We may call them this. We may call them that. We make fun of doomsday preppers and people stashing all kind of stuff in a bunker and. Could there be some truth there? Because, if things go south, they're going to be the ones prepared. Everybody else won't be. They won't be.
Did y'all see the guy? And it was on social media, but it doesn't look like it's AI generated.
Right.
But he had his Walmart shopping list. Did y'all see this one? When you go to Walmart and you can get something either delivered or pick up. He had a Walmart shopping list from 2022, and it was $126. And just out of curiosity, he hit the buy again button just to see, what it would be, and it was $414.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That for people that
same basket of goods, almost nearly quadrupled in price in 2 years.
I don't know how families do it. I really
Crazy.
don't. I don't know how you raise a family.
You know what?
On that.
I'm
with
going to
those kind of price
hold on.
increases.
I'm going to put Miranda and my business out there. We got a bill for our homeowners insurance.
Oh my God! I heard
58% increase from last year. 58%.
That's wild.
Tell me this is not an attack on the American family when I keep trying to tell everybody that BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are buying all the homes because they don't want any, private ownership, and now you're going to increase we have no claims since the flood, none, and you're going to increase our insurance 58%? How you want me to hold on to that house? Joe Biden, tell me how you want, Kamala Harris, how you want me to hold on to this house?
That's what's happening a lot, especially in southern part of the state where with people with.
That's happening across the country.
It's just nuts. I mean, if you filed a claim I get it. I mean, it's just, I don't know what the answer to the insurance crisis.
Well, number one, insurance is a scam.
Well,
that's the biggest scam perpetrated other than the pharmaceutical organizations on the American population.
I mean, look, as I said, I don't know what the answer to the insurance crisis is. If you have a mortgage, they require you to have insurance. The question is at what point does the breaking point occur? And that's, I think we're close to that. If not, for a lot of people, we're there. And insurance companies are basically trying to mitigate their risk. That's what they do. And I mean, here you got a storm that just hit Florida. There's going to be people making claims. That means the reinsurance market is going to get affected.
Well, they're trying to mitigate their claims, but they also made $40 billion in profit last year.
Yeah, they do. Look.
Okay, I got no problem with somebody making profit, but how you going to put me out of my home so you can make $40 billion?
Yeah.
No.
Believe me, I'm right now dealing with that. I filed a claim for my roof. My roof is, 20 years old. Got a lot of hail damage up there. I had a roofer go up there and go take a look because I had some leaks inside my house. I noticed on the top of my ceiling some space.
Get ready to get canceled.
And The guy came out and did an inspection on my roof and approved for a repair.
Right.
I got a $1,200.
Yep.
$1,200.
Yep.
$1,200.
$1,200 for a roof repair sounds about right, because I'm pretty sure a new roof could be $10,000. I think.
Oh,
Or
it's more.
$20,000.
It's $20,000.
Yeah, we got one for our house, and it would be $22,000.
So the roofing company that I'm working with right now, they said, "Look, we're gonna have to do this another way." So there's some other processes we're going through to see about trying to get this roof replaced. What I'm worried about is all of a sudden telling me that, we're not going to insure your roof until you replace it.
Right.
And they could do that.
Yes. Well, that's why I said get ready to get canceled, because they're going to cancel you.
I haven't filed a claim. I think the last claim on my house was back like in 2001. I got all of about $192.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
The difference between that is today that $191 could get you canceled.
well, we'll see what happens. I hope not. I hope I don't, because they're not out of money
Right.
with me, so it's, we'll have some other things, and I'll have to cross that bridge when it comes.
Right.
But, I hope not.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
they've made a whole lot more money off me
Right.
than I have them. At least when it come to that. But yeah, so we've got problems right now in this country, and it just blows my mind that we can give all this money to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't some of that to kind of go? Some of that money could go to fortify the reinsurance market.
Right.
Make it easier for insurance companies to write policies where not, that's what I'm saying. It's our priorities. It's, what are we doing?
Well, you got to think of it. It's as simple. If pharmaceutical companies cured you, they'd go bankrupt.
We've talked about that before.
If
yeah,
banks helped you actually get out of debt, they would collapse. If politicians actually solved all of your problems, nobody would reelect them. And it's a really simple thing. If Tom kills Jerry, the show's over.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's a good
it's
point.
all a big show. Everything is fake. That's the bottom line to it. And we've been buying it and buying it and buying it. And now people are hopefully starting to wake up to it.
Well, as I said, the system is based upon people being in debt. You understand that?
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, that's the way the system runs. Is based upon people in debt. If no one's in debt and no one owes anybody, how does that change? Right. How do you, where all the businesses that thrive off of that reality? Let's just be honest about it. There's a lot of jobs out there that exist solely because people are in debt. That the whole system we're in debt. That our country's in debt.
Well, you see, the reason the insurance company doesn't want to actually pay for your new roof is because they want you to refinance your house to do it. This is a quote from the first general director of the World Health Organization. To achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, loyalty to family traditions, national patriotism, and religious dogmas. Think about that right there. That was from the very first general director of the World Health Organization.
Well,
what's the plan? Does that not sound like everything that's happening in the world, especially in America right now? Because the strong family is what makes America great. That's why there's this attack on the American family.
Well, they're succeeding right now because I don't know where this is going to go. I just don't know where this is going because you can't make insurance. At the end of the day, insurance companies exist as private entities. It's not a government entity. So they're not receiving tax dollars somewhere to do. This is where I'm talking about is where government can actually help people.
Right.
This is why are they not why are they not taking some of those billions of dollars that's going to fund foreign wars and prop up the reinsurance market and help them when it comes to that? That way people are not having to deal with, I don't have insurance on my house anymore because I can't afford it. Then what does the bank do? I mean, ultimately, what would happen? Okay, I can't afford the insurance anymore. Then what do? I don't have insurance.
You lose your house. That's the point. That's the point. When Miranda and I first got together, we were looking at maybe moving to a different house. Even the federal insurance was over $5,000 for just a reasonable, normal house. $5,000. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. For a house in flood plan X? What? No.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we're in a bad place right now. I mean,
we talked earlier. All I have to say is, how hot as it is outside, thank God it's not snowing. Can you imagine having to shovel all that snow in this heat? Ian's giving me that look like he wants to kill me.
Oh, man.
Come on, Ian. I'm trying to lighten it up a little bit, man. We're getting kind of serious here, and
yes.
I want to lighten it up a little bit. I threw something your way, and you didn't bite. Come on, it was funny.
I got you.
I mean, if people own homes, we're having to deal with this. So there's a lot of people dealing with this right now, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to it. But as I say, kind of going back to what we're saying, I mean, we're in this place right now because of circumstances, and there's a lot of people say it was planned. Or I'm a firm believer, and here I'm going reaching back a little bit, but remember all the big mess with 2012?
Oh yeah,
in the Mayan calendar,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
and all that, and really the Mayan calendar was the end of an age. It wasn't the end of the world.
Right.
A lot of people were saying, "Oh, it was the end of the world." No, it's the end of an age, and it was the beginning of a new age.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed like things changed. It really did. Something changed.
What if that was our great filter?
I don't know if that was it, but
what if that was our great?
It just seemed like the kind of the normal operating principles that we operated under, common understanding of things, just got thrown into a wash tub and spun around. It just, to me, it just seemed like we're upside down right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're upside down, and I have to say, it really started about that time.
It's crazy for me. I looked back with a friend of mine, and this just maybe because of nostalgia or whatever, but it's like even for myself, looking back at the early 2000s, I was like, the world felt like a different place.
Yes,
I think a lot of it, like I said, now I'm not sure how much of that was because of me being a early teen during those formidable years. But I think I've talked about the fact between like 06 and 010, or I'm sorry, 06 and 10 or whatever was like my teenage years, where like I went through a whole, like I grew up in that era, and I feel like I see what you're saying. Is like there's a switch flipped at some point after that process where the world I live in currently feels so devoid of the one that I grew up in. I think a lot of it is technology. The immediacy of a lot of that stuff, I think, is what causes a lot of that. I think social media is a big part of all that. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's any one thing is what I'm saying, but you're right. I do feel like this end of an age, this new era that we're in of, I don't know, just people being sad and feeling not connected with other people, or not physically connected with other people, but having some sort of digital communication and all that kind of stuff. Feels like a different time altogether.
It kind of started with the social medias, and it kind of got enhanced by COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, I really believe now with COVID, I think that did more damage than what we realize.
Yeah.
And as I said, this may impact me very personally,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You have some foreboding coming, or what?
well, I just got some, it's medically related.
Mm-hmm.
And just say I haven't, nothing yet. I don't want to say anything yet because I don't know yet for certain. But it may end up being that. And if it is, I'm going to be very upset. And
you're saying it's related to COVID?
Yes.
Okay. That it's affecting you now.
Yeah,
years after
COVID or the shot?
Well, could be
both.
Both. Don't know yet. As I said, I don't want to say anything yet until I hear more.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I'll find out more by the next time we record.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just think, and if this, I just think this has contributed to this sense of I almost kind of feel like we're at that point in the early 90s.
Okay.
I really feel, because I do feel like at some time during the time of George Bush Sr. And to Bill Clinton, there was a lot of shows that were coming on about, the government's hiding stuff. I mean, we all remember the X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
That came on during that period is when it came out. Loved the show.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was a great show. I mean, it really was, of how they presented each episode and kind of left you thinking, like that famous first episode when, Mulder they're on this playground, I think, and he's walking and he meets this old grizzled veteran of, obviously the CIA or some
alphabet,
group that he was, and they were talking. He goes, no, they've been here a long time, and that long time is, to me, I feel like we're in that again.
Well, that kind of started the Y2K thing coming.
Yeah.
And you just kind of said something about the Mayan calendar happening. And it's kind of like, we're gearing up toward something again, some major thing coming.
Yeah, as I said, I've a lot of things that I thought I've really looked at again, and I have to say that there's a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we live in a more mysterious world than we care to admit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, I have to get comfortable with the idea that the world is more mysterious and is not as figured out as we think we do.
Yeah.
And whether that's true or not, I don't know. I can only go off my gut and just taking in everything and seeing how our politics have been turned upside down, how people have been turned upside down, the advent of AI.
Yep.
A lot of the stuff that our friend Brandon has brought up, for all intents and purposes, we're all contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, basically off what he said, we're all contaminated. It's in our food, then what we drink,
Our drugs.
our drugs. So
Our
if you
cell phones.
if you do any of those things, then you're contaminated with something. What that is, who knows?
Right.
But I mean, where does that lead us?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I didn't plan on really kind of going down this
Yeah.
down this road.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I have to believe that there's a grand plan. I'm a firm believer, and I believe in God, and I believe ultimately He's in charge.
Mhm.
And we're going to be okay. But I'm not certain of how we're getting out of this world.
I have a sneaking suspicion that things will only get worse before they'll get better. That's what I'm not saying. Like, I agree with what you're saying, but I feel like, in my personal opinion, that in the world we live in right now, before things ever start to improve at all, things are going to get far worse than
We're all men of faith here.
Yeah.
And the Bible is very specific about technically it is going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. But I'm not even talking about like that inevitable,
right.
But it's all
yeah.
biblical. If you're
You're
looking
right.
at it, it all falls down to a biblical.
Yeah, right. And I'm like I said, I'm not making any hypothesis for when Jesus will return, but I'm just talking about, like, again, things always come in waves, and I feel like we're in a slump.
Right.
And I have a feeling that I think things are only going to probably going to
get worse
before things start to make a turnaround. You know what I mean?
I as I said, it's that's it. Just where we're at right now, and now I just saw that the U.S. is moving 4,000 to 5,000 troops into the region because Israel is waiting for Iran
to attack
to respond to that.
Yeah, they killed some Hamas leader that
Right.
was what was he doing in Iran?
Exactly.
I mean, wait, what?
Yeah, I and that's what worries me is the current regime right now. It seems to be rushing to war.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying
Because
to
they need a major war to come in so they can declare martial law and stop the election from happening.
Well, I mean, maybe so. I don't know. I just think that you're flirting with disaster.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna start a war with Iran, now you're involving Iran's
That's
allies.
a world war.
That's now you got Russia and China.
Yep.
You
That's
got
a world
North
war.
Korea has stipulated, as much as you want to blame Kim Jong Un. Trump famously called him Rocket Man. But regardless,
Yeah, but Trump was also the first president
to walk on their
soil
That's right.
and shake his hand and try to start some
a
talks.
dialogue with
Yes.
him, which that doesn't happen now.
No, of course not.
But I mean,
because they're trying to antagonize him right now.
right. So they want. That's what I'm saying.
want a world
they
war.
want world war, and I'm like, this. No one wins with that. You've got right now several countries that have started to align to dump the U.S. currency. We've all heard that. That's where I think AI and Bitcoin and the ultimate goal is to go to a digital currency. I know that. Then you've lost control.
Well, when you go to a digital currency, what do you need more than anything? The mark of the beast.
Well, I mean, some people would
That's
say
the only way you can work that is to have an
I
implant in your arm, in your head, somewhere that somebody can pay you, somebody can take it's not like you're going to have a little credit card walking around that you could lose it. Okay. Oh, you lose your credit card. Now somebody's got all your money. No, it's going to have to be attached to you, and they're going to scan it, and that's how you're going to get paid. That's how you're going to go to the grocery store. And now you're talking mark of the beast.
Well, I mean, I would venture to say we are closer to some system like that.
Yes.
By just virtue of where we're at technology or
Right.
where we are. I mean, look in Whole Foods.
And you know who
You can go to Whole Foods now, and there is
Use
a
your hand.
palm
Yes.
scanning, which
Yeah.
I looked at that when I first saw that, and I went, They're laying the groundwork.
Yes, and you know who the
There it
biggest
is.
you know who the biggest proponent of that is, right? Oh, our friend Bill Gates, who started COVID.
Right.
Yeah, well, he's buying up a lot of farmland too.
Not to change the subject, but I had a little medical thing. We all know the last 2 years that I've had have been kind of crazy, but I went to the doctor because I think I have some arthritis setting in.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, they dismissed the arthritis completely outright. And apparently I have some early onset rigor mortis.
Early onset rigor mortis.
Yes.
BS.
You get that after you die, Jason.
Yeah, I know. You do. That's why I was
I'm trying to lighten this
that's
up a
why-
little
that's
bit.
why I was
We're
looking
getting
at
too
you.
deep here. We're
It's like
getting too
rigor
hot and
mortis,
heavy.
okay.
Come on. The studio's starting to get hot in here.
Yeah.
We need to slow down.
Well,
And
when you
I
start
wanted to lighten it up
when
just
you
a
start
little bit
talking
there.
about this stuff, I mean,
Yes.
I mean, we have to talk about
We
it. I mean,
do.
that's reality and it's life. I
And
mean,
talking to our listeners, that's what they like about us, because we will talk about this. We will talk about it openly, and we will at least dive into these subjects. And we're not just one view, and we talk about these things. That's what they like about us. And apparently, after our email today, you know, people like what I have to say. Apparently, so
yeah,
I got to keep
everybody
talking at
loves
least a
you,
little bit.
Stoney. I guess Ian and I are just kind of
guess.
chop liver over here.
I feel like I'm the straight man. I have to keep you guys in line. That's what it feels like sometimes.
That's all right. We'll take it because
I
we
know,
make a
you know.
great team. Apparently,
Right,
people
right.
do
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
They like what we're doing, and guess what? They want us to go video. So
Yeah.
Well, it's going to take some investments.
Yeah.
And you got to find ways of doing that with
yeah.
trying to manage everything else.
Of course.
Because we all have bills.
Yes.
So we'll get there. I'm looking forward to us going, video, and that way everybody can see our beautiful faces.
I don't know if
And,
I'm beautiful or not, but
But yeah, I think that's going to be fun. So
Right.
I think it's exciting. I think it is the next step, and it's fascinating to look at the process. We keep talking about technology. We've talked about it a couple of times. Just the technology for the podcast
Oh yeah.
is fantastic stuff.
Right. And it's gotten better as time has gone on.
Yeah. Wow.
But it just yeah, like Jason was saying, those toys are expensive, and
Yes.
so they require a little more planning. But I'm excited to see where it's going to go and what our next chapter is going to look like. I'm excited to see what the show has to offer in the future. But as we talked about at the top of the episode, we do have a YouTube channel. If you want to go ahead and subscribe to that and be a part of that for whenever that inevitably does happen, you can go to the search bar on YouTube and type at Retrospect Pod, or do a .com/Retrospect Pod, and it'll take you to our channel. Like I said before, all the concurrent episodes are on there already. Or you can find us on any major podcasting platforms. As Stoney had just read from the email, if you have anything that you want to say, any long form content, you can email us, or you can say nice things to, I don't know, maybe Jason or me.
Yeah. Hey, Ian, we need to step our game up
so
here.
I guess what I need to start saying some nice things to the audience, so they'll treat me nice as well. It's getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, or you can send those emails, and we would appreciate that very much. But until next time, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. God bless.
Hey, thank you for hanging out with us today. You are absolutely the best. Peace.